Nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. Forget OceanGate, forget Titan, forget Stockton. Humanity could be on the verge of a big breakthrough. Those were the words of Guillermo Sonline, OceanGate's original co-founder. I don't know about you, but when I saw that report on Insider, I kind of wasn't sure whether to believe it. This is someone saying less than 2 months after Stockton Rush's death, forget OceanGate, forget Titan, forget Stockton. Personally, I think it's the opposite. We should remember the Titan and what happened to the Titan in the same way that the Titan expedition ought to have paid more attention to what happened to the Titanic. In any event, what is this huge breakthrough that the co-founder of OceanGate was talking about? He's saying if we don't take advantage of it, we as a species are going to get shut down and pushed back into the status quo. What is he talking about? Before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. I'm going to be doing a deep dive in the space aspect of this whole thing. Also, how does NASA fit into the whole OceanGate narrative? So if you're interested in that aspect, keep watching, keep your eyes peeled. If you're enjoying this episode, please like, share, leave a comment. You can also hit the thanks button and let's get started. So the surviving OceanGate co-founder, Guillermo Sonline, he wants to start a 1,000 person strong colony on Venus. He seems to think we can get some sort of infrastructure there up and running by 2050, so within 30 years. Sonline, Stockton Rush's former partner, who was born in Argentina, seems to have a Bespin scenario from Star Wars in mind. I can't help thinking, how realistic is this? On the company website, the question, why Venus, is posed, a very legitimate question, and then answered with, why not? But going to Venus is a little different than climbing high mountains because they are there, or venturing down to the crushing depths of our own oceans. Venus may be there, but it's arguably the most hostile environment in our entire solar system. That's quite a big statement.
Ho, ho, ho! Fiction can be fun!
And so when the reporter from Insider questions this whole idea, Sonline responds, you're absolutely right that when you talk about going to Venus, it would raise eyebrows outside the space industry. He even concedes that it raises eyebrows inside the space industry. And then he says, it's aspirational, but I think it's very doable by 2050. And that word aspirational is kind of a marketing word. It's kind of a venture capitalist word. It's the whole thing with Titanic all over again. Let's do it because it's aspirational. Well, maybe let's first consider the engineering aspect. And when you do that, then you can really address it practically. Is it very doable he says it's very doable by 2050.
Is it? Are you on our side?
Because that sort of is a question. Whose side are you on? Are you really on the side of humanity? Are you really on the side of innovation? Or are you on the side of a money-making venture? Are you really on the side of innovation and science and exploration? Or is there more selfish thing that's going on? Because the overriding theme from Titan is a dubious attitude to safety. One wonders whether the other half of the original organization has learned the lesson from Titan. Have we learned the lesson from Titanic more than a century later? I did a video not that long ago, 22 startling insights, where most people didn't know most of the fabric of what happened on Titanic. Not just engineering issues, but safety protocol issues like the telegram operators writing MSG in front of the telegram and as a prefix, and that would have gotten the captain's attention. Most people didn't even know that. So isn't this venture to Venus less a question of science and innovation than reckless hubris once again? I mean, I think if we put our hearts and minds to do something as a species, there's nothing we can't do. But before we go reaching for Earth's diabolical twin, we might want to try colonizing a sphere that's a little easier and a little closer to home. Anyway, according to the Daily Mail, Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system, even hotter than Mercury, despite the latter being the closest to the Sun, with a surface temperature that could melt lead. Venus also has a thick toxic atmosphere of carbon dioxide and yellow clouds of sulfuric acid, while NASA reports its atmospheric pressure is more than 90 times that of Earth, which really kind of begs the question, why do you want to go there? Like, what is there to see? What is there to do? What is the reason that you want to go there? In any event, the article goes on to state, despite this, the former OceanGate co-founder explained that he sees no reason why humans shouldn't try to take over the planet. He alluded to research which claims there's a small section of Venus's atmosphere 30 miles from the surface where humans could, in theory, survive. Okay, well, that is quite interesting. So he seems to be thinking, instead of colonizing Venus, having some sort of space station rotating around the planet, which is a slightly different kettle of fish, but still not necessarily easy. According to the Daily Mail, Sondland stated his belief that if a floating space station could be built that was fortified against the sulfuric acid in the clouds, a colony of 1,000 people could live in Venus's atmosphere. But he did not address how the space station would withstand the 224 miles per hour hurricane winds that frequently batter Venus. And so once again, it's a question of, well, all you need to do is build a hull, a lightweight hull, because it's something that's going to float, that can withstand these extreme conditions. Well, who should we trust with that mission? The Daily Mail also notes that in a blog post as recently as February, just a few months ago this year, Sondland wrote, quote, "I am not an engineer or a scientist, but I have ultimate faith in the abilities of both. Therefore, I always figured that they would be able to overcome the myriad challenges facing us in the extreme environment of space." End quote. What's wrong with the moon? What's wrong with Mars? Maybe one should take baby steps first and try a planet or a sphere, even a moon, that is not completely hostile to human life. And so what I find quite strange is while you have such hyperbole from the co-founder, you had something similar with regard to claims about partnering with NASA and Boeing. And we're going to be dealing with those in the next episode. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.